You sit across from her. The room hums with silence. Her eyes, steady, unreadable, slide over you like glass over flame. You say something charming. She laughs, but inside you feel that flicker, that question that never leaves. Who's really in control here? It feels like a game you've been playing your whole life without ever reading the rules. And tonight, for the first time, you start to see the price. Because power with women has never just been about attraction. It's been about influence. And influence, when used blindly, becomes its own kind of prison. But you didn't come here for safety. You came for the truth. And truth has claws. Control. That's the word they never taught you to look at closely. The way she tilts her head when you speak. The pause before she answers. The way your heart adjusts its rhythm to her silence. It's not magic, it's entertainment. One nervous system syncing to another. Psychologists call it limbic resonance, the invisible feedback loop that ties emotions together without words. When she mirrors you, her pupils widening just a little, her breath aligning with yours, your body reads it as connection. And when she withdraws, you chase, not because you choose to, but because biology makes you. Her attention becomes oxygen, and every inhale is proof you still exist. You start performing tiny gestures, calculated tones. You think you're leading, but in truth, you're reacting. Your nervous system becomes her instrument, and she plays it beautifully. That's the first layer of the secret. Control isn't domination, it's calibration. Every emotion she feels through you rewires her perception of reality. And every emotion you suppress teaches her what power costs. Maybe you've felt it before. Maybe you've noticed how quickly you adapt to her moods, how her silence can make your chest tighten, how you start scanning her face for signs of approval. Maybe you laugh at jokes you wouldn't normally find funny. Maybe you stay just to prove you're unshakable. Maybe you text less, hoping she'll chase more. Maybe you promise freedom, but secretly crave surrender. Maybe every "I'm fine" you send hides a quiet, trembling question. Am I enough yet? It's not weakness, it's a survival code. A pattern built long before her face appeared in your story. It was smart then, adaptive. You learned to sense micro-shifts in emotion to stay safe. You learned to anticipate rejection before it arrived. That was intelligence, not flaw. But what kept you alive back then keeps you small now. You see, what once protected you from chaos now limits your power within it. That sensitivity to her moods, the thing that once made you magnetic, now makes you reactive. She can feel that. Because women read vibration, not vocabulary. When your sense of worth leans toward her gaze, she feels it in her gut. And instinctively, she tests it, not maliciously, biologically. Because feminine energy seeks polarity. It searches for a container strong enough to hold its storm without collapsing. And if you flinch, she'll push harder. Not to hurt you, to find your edge. So you fight back with logic. You withdraw, become mysterious. Apply tactics from videos, books, whispers in dark corners of the internet. You try to control the dynamic. But here's the paradox. Real control is not what you do to her. It's what you withdraw from her. It's the energy you reclaim from the endless attempt to manage perception. Because the man who controls himself, his attention, his emotional state, his presence, controls the entire room. Imagine your mind as a fortress. Most men leave the gates wide open. Every look, every tone, every breath from her is allowed to march in, rearrange the furniture, repaint the walls. But a man who understands the secret doesn't build higher walls. He builds stillness. Stillness is unshakable gravity. It doesn't chase, it pulls. And the feminine orbits that gravity voluntarily. You begin to see it now. Control isn't about bending her will. It's about mastering the field between you. That invisible current where tension, desire, and dominance exchange signals faster than thought. When you stop leaking attention outward, she feels it. She doesn't understand why, but she senses weight. She feels the pulse of certainty, the density of a man who no longer seeks validation. And paradoxically, she softens. There's a dark side to that power. Because once you feel how easily the field bends, it tempts you. You start noticing how tone shapes her reality, how withdrawal creates craving, how unpredictability amplifies attachment. It's intoxicating, like holding lightning in your hand. But lightning doesn't belong to anyone. Use it too long, and it burns through the very vessel that channels it. This is where most men fall. They confuse influence with dominance. But dominance without compassion turns to corrosion. And women, consciously or not, can taste that decay. Your energy becomes sharp, brittle, defensive. You start losing the quiet power that drew her in. Because the real secret isn't in the manipulation of emotion, it's in the mastery of your own nervous system. That's where control begins and where freedom hides. Here's the framework only few talk about. It's not sexy, it's not quick, but it works. Step 1, witness. Before you respond to her tone, watch what happens inside you. That sudden tightness in your throat, that's the signal. Your body is whispering the truth faster than your mind can catch it. Step 2, breathe. Not to calm down, but to anchor. Each slow breath reclaims a fraction of the attention you gave away. Step 3, separate. Her emotion is data, not demand. She can rage, withdraw, test, adore, and none of it defines you. You are the observer, not the object. Step 4, lead the rhythm. Lower your tone, slow your movement. Presence dictates tempo. When your system steadies, hers follows. That's limbic leadership, the quiet command of resonance. Step 5, re-engage if you choose. Not because you fear losing her, but because your world is full enough that her presence adds, not fills. That distinction changes everything. And now ask yourself, when was the last time you spoke without strategy? When was the last time you looked at a woman and didn't measure your worth by her response? What part of you still believes love must be earned through performance? And who taught you that control equals safety? You're allowed to stop proving. You're allowed to want without chasing. You're allowed to be still while others reach for your attention. You're allowed to be desired and unmoved. Because power doesn't roar, it radiates. But now comes the fracture point, the part most men never reach. The moment when control turns inward and begins to dissolve the self that needs it. You start to see that the ultimate influence over women isn't external at all. It's the quiet authority of a man who no longer fears loss. A man who could walk away, not to punish, but to preserve his own gravity. And yet, something deeper stirs beneath that strength. A whisper asking if maybe all control is just another mask for desire. If every attempt to lead her is, in truth, an attempt to lead yourself back to wholeness. Maybe that's why the most dangerous men aren't the ones who dominate women, but the ones who've made peace with their own hunger. Because once you stop needing to control her, she stops resisting you. And what happens then? That's where the real secret begins to reveal itself. Maybe the truth isn't about control at all. Maybe it's about something far older, something your body remembers but your mind has forgotten. Because when you finally stop chasing her energy, you might start feeling this one thing you've been avoiding all along. And exactly there, in that quiet, dangerous stillness, is where the entire game flips.